What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at the Gramercy Theater, and this time we got round two with Jamie of Polaris. Thank you so much for your time.
It's good to see you again.
Yep, can't believe it's been a year since the Parkway Drive August Burns Red Tour since we spoke last.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Yeah, there you go.
Been a hot minute, but it's good to be back.
Yeah, you toured quite a lot since then, because I think like the day after I interviewed you, you announced that tour that you did with Architects.
Yes, that sounds about right. Yeah, yes, we did. Yes.
So a lot has happened then, but it's now been about 2 years since the release of the Mortal Coyle. Do you have kind of like a conclusion on that record cycle at all?
I guess we're kind of nearing the end of the cycle. You know, like when we did a headliner back home in November, which we kind of said that this will kind of be like the last like main headline run we do back home in Australia off the record, and then like we've done a couple of like regional headline shows actually about a month ago now back home. But in terms of like, you know, like it is coming up on 2 years from the release. So I'd say, yeah, we are, you know, nearing the end of the cycle, you know, getting there.
Yeah. Now, without giving too much away, if like you are kind of like, if you were to say be working on new music right now in the future, are you tending to maybe like stick with a similar formula that we heard on the Mortal Coyle, or do you think maybe in the future you're going to do something completely different?
I don't know. We don't necessarily have like a definite structure or formula that we stick to with writing. I'm not necessarily one of the main writers in the band, but in, like just speaking in terms of how our music is though, like we don't have like, you know, it has to have an intro, verse, chorus, blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah.
Like we kind of just write to how the song develops and just see what the song needs while, you know, it's in the ways of writing the song, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that led me into my favorite question that I like to ask everybody. I normally save it for last, but I'll ask it now. How do you know when a song is done?
I don't know. I don't know if a song is ever really done. I wanted to say it was Dan from Architects that said this to me and Daniel. An album or a song, as you're asking, an album never is done. It just has a deadline.
Okay, that is fair enough, and
that is true. Like, you know, like, and speak for us being the perfectionists that we are, it is quite hard to, you know, to get a song to its most perfect form when, you know, because like once like you know you say you have a deadline to meet, like that's it. You know, you can't touch it anymore. It has to be done. Like, but,
yeah. I guess that helps because then you'll end up working on it forever.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But yeah, like, you know, you gotta just kind of bite the bullet, be like, no, this we have to call it at this, because, you know, I mean, you could rewrite a song 1,000 times and, you know, have 1,000 different variations of it, and one of them could be good and the other, you know, however many could be bad, or they could all just be good. You know, like, it's the more you spend working on something, you can kind of get lost in a bit of a, you know, mental loophole on like, oh, this is better, but like sometimes maybe it's not so much better. You know, maybe you need to take a step back and reassess what you've got in front of you, and then go, okay, no, what we had there was good, but I think it just needed this instead. You know. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fair enough. One thing I was curious about is when I saw you for the first time at that Parkway Drive show, that was, you know, the first time I ever saw you, as a lot of people in New York was, and I thought it was a completely different experience than just simply listening to the Mortal Coyle record. For you, is it a completely different energy executing your material live versus like when you're in a vocal booth or a studio?
Yeah. I mean, the emotion is still there, but I guess in a different way. Obviously, like, you know, day-to-day life affects how you are on that day and like when you perform, but when at least for me up on stage, you know, I it's kind of like once the music, like the intro starts playing, I just kind of, you know, try to forget anything about that day or, you know, whatever, and just like focus on the set and like, yeah, just let the emotions and the music take over. And but in terms of like what you said, is there any difference?
Yeah,
I'd say, you know, not necessarily much difference. Obviously, you know, there is a lot of difference between standing in a vocal booth by yourself and like reading lyrics and like trying to get the right take to doing a whole song in one go, obviously live. But you know, the emotion is still there 100% always, and the, you know, it is somewhat same, but it's obviously very different. The surroundings are different, the atmosphere is different, and like, you know, feeding off the energy from the crowd as well. And like, you know, depending on certain parts of the song, or like, you know, what, like, even like with like Jake and like his choruses and stuff, like when you see people singing back or screaming back the words to you and you can feel that they're connecting with what you're screaming or singing to them, then you feed off that, and it kind of hones in on it even more to give that bit extra for, you know, for them off the performance, however you want to put it, you know?
I'd imagine the crowd also like feeding off of you. You kind of also feed off the crowd in a way too, with interaction, right?
Big time, yeah.
Yeah.
The more I feel the more the crowd gets into it, the more I kind of get into it as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
One question I was asking you is that I thought you played with a fairly variety of different style of bands. Like, I mean, I think many fans could appreciate all these bands, but like I thought Parkway Drive had a little differences between a band like Architects, and now you're on tour with Wage War. Have you noticed maybe a different type of reaction or a different type of audience depending on the tours you've been on?
Yeah, for sure. You know, just going off those bands that you've already said, you know, like the Parkway run was obviously a different vibe of a tour compared to like what we are on right now. Like, even though, you know, the Parkway Drive tour we did was Parkway, August Burns Red, The Devil Wears Prada, and us, like predominantly like a metalcore lineup. You know, obviously there were nights where there were more people there, obviously for Parkway, which Parkway fans are, you know, not so much of a same vein of music style of what like say we or other bands play or whatever, but like generally at a lot of shows you do get like a kind of similar reaction, you know, like people jumping, people, you know, pitting or whatever, but from show to show you do notice a bit of a different dynamic in the crowd, you know, like sometimes you'll have like, you know, like on this Wage War tour, like obviously majority of the bands were all basically metalcore bands, and you know you get that vibe. People, you know, the crowds are generally like the same kind of vibe every night, which is really cool. So
Yeah.
but over the years, but from playing with like multiple different bands, like we played a tour. We did a tour with Pliny and Intervals, and
wow.
they're both instrumental bands, and then we were opening for that. So that was quite a different crowd to be playing for, you know, like the mostly like, you know, musical tech people that are going to watch those kind of bands. But you know, we changed up our set to showcase that side of music a bit more, and but like obviously, you know, it wasn't necessarily the most energetic of crowds, because they're the more kind of crowds that stand there and want to appreciate the music, and that's how they enjoy the
They're
night.
not
Like,
there for
I mean,
mosh pitting.
I'm that as well. Like I used to jump around pit and everything, but these days I would rather stand at the back and just watch and just see the show, see the lights, see them, whatever band it is that I'm watching playing their instruments and how they're executing it, and watching the vocalist, and you know, I'd rather just take it all in from that, whereas I used to be like front row jumping up and down and everything, you know, like
Your mosh pit retirement.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I do come out on the rare occasion. On the rare occasion, it
You'll
depends.
be there with. How about you and I come out of mosh pit retirement? We'll go in there tonight.
Oh, maybe.
New York, we bring it. You're in the hardcore capital of the world. This is the place.
Peer
to
pressure,
mosh.
mate. Peer pressure.
I have 2 more questions for you.
Yeah,
if that's
sure.
When it comes to songwriting, what I was curious is, do you have to put yourself in a certain element or a certain mood in order for the inspiration to come, or does inspiration sometimes come out of nowhere?
I'd say yes and no. As I said, I'm not one of the main songwriters with our bands. That's Rick, Daniel, and Jake and Ryan. They're the main core, you know, the main guys for in terms of like music for us. But I would say yes. You know, like I mean, there is some days when, you know, like we, you know, just nothing's coming sometimes, you know, and you got to just take a bit of a step back. And then there's other days where, like, you know, an idea could just come out of nowhere, or like Rick could be jamming something on the guitar, or myself or Daniel or Ryan or Jake, and you know, someone will just hear something, be like, yo, what was that? And then they, you know, will replay it, and then like it sparks something, you know. But I guess in general, like what you're saying, like, you know, obviously a mood definitely does help, but I don't know, with us, it's never like we try to get ourselves in a mood. Like, we don't have like a routine of like, oh, we have to do this before we start writing or whatever. It's usually just, you know, we go over to Rick's house, because we have like a bit of a studio in his sister's old bedroom, which we've now converted into like the Polaris headquarters kind of thing.
That's awesome. How does his sister feel about that?
She's moved out of home, so
okay.
out of home now, so yeah. But yeah, like normally it'll be like, yeah, we have our set days we go over for writing, and we just kind of show up when we show up and take the day from there.
There you go.
As I said, I'm not one of the main writers, but you know.
Yeah, of course, but-
One of the other guys probably answered that a lot better for you, but yeah.
But like with lyrics and stuff like that, I'd imagine that it helps when you have music at first.
I'm actually not main lyricist. That's Daniel.
Oh,
our drummer.
really?
Yeah, he's the lyrical genius behind our band.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, like in terms of content, like, you know, he will
didn't
come
know this.
to me and Jake about what he wants to talk about, what, you know, the songs are about, and we'll go through it together and everything. But Daniel's pretty much, he's the guy that comes up with all the lyrics and the vocal rhythm. Sometimes I'll tweak some bits here and there. I'm like, that sounds cool, but I don't think I'll be able to do that breathing wise. Maybe when we try this or whatever. But yeah, he's our guy.
That's
Yeah.
really unique to hear. I think Cannibal Corpse has the same sort of thing. I think Corpse Grinder doesn't write any of the lyrics. either.
There's actually quite a lot of bands out there that the vocalist isn't actually the main lyricist.
But I'd
Yeah,
imagine
it's not uncommon, which, you know, was kind of comforting for me, because I felt a bit weird at first being the vocalist but not being the main lyric writer, you know. But I always said to Dan, like, you know, I never want to sing or scream about something that I can't relate to or that I haven't experienced, you know, because then it's just reading a piece of paper and I'm not giving my heart into it, you know what I mean?
So there is a connection you have with the lyrics
for sure,
too.
for sure,
like,
yeah, for sure. And that's the same with Jake as well, you know?
Okay.
Big time.
Awesome.
Otherwise, like I said, why we're just getting up there singing someone else's songs, and I wouldn't like that. So
Yeah, of course. And the final question I wanted to ask you is because I feel like people really do connect with your music. After the Parkway show, which was the first time you played New York City, a lot of people bought that album and it really resonated with them and connected with them. When you hear on how an artist connects with the music that you're performing and that you all wrote together, does that change how you look at yourself as an artist?
Yeah, it does. It does. Like, you know, we do have a lot of people that come up to us saying, you know, how our music has affected their lives and how important our music is to them and all that. And it really does overwhelm me, I guess, because, you know, I've like, music has helped me through a lot of my own personal issues and troubles and stuff in the past, and still, like, present to this day. Like, music helps me with my issues, and to hear people saying that about the music that we perform, it's a bit of a reality check, you know. Like, it's almost like we're, like, if we were to stop being a band, I would almost feel guilty that we're now not there in terms of a performing sense for our fans, because, you know, people do connect with our music like that. But I forgot the question now.
Yeah,
But,
no, you were
yeah,
you were on a roll.
It as I said, like, we have people coming up to us at shows saying that stuff, and it does rock me, because it's just like, wow, like,
Yeah.
you know, that's how powerful music is, just in general, and the fact that our music is, they're getting rowdy up there, and the fact that our music is helping people out there is amazing and very special, you know. And
There you go.
yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Sorry about it. It's just, yeah,
It's almost kind of like looking in a mirror in a way, right?
a little bit, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. You're always welcome back on the show, man. Is there just anything else you would like to promote in terms of tours, or could we maybe be expecting a follow-up to the Mortal Coyle anytime soon?
Let's just say our new music is soon.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't say anything else. I mean, new music is on its way.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Of course, everybody, round 2 with Jamie of Polaris. New music coming very soon, and pick up the Mortal Coil if you haven't already. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.